Welcome to Essential Ingredients, powered by Next Gen Purpose. EI serves up thoughtful conversations with industry leaders and pioneers who support a regenerative future for our food system. The stories shared by our guests are meant to spark curiosity and inspire informed global change. Welcome to Essential Ingredients. I'm your host, Justine Reichman. With me today is Anna Hammond. She is the founder of Matriark Foods. Welcome, Anna.
Hello, thanks so much for having me.
I'm so pleased to have you here to learn about what you're doing and to share that with our guests and our viewers. So there's lots of exciting stuff going on for Matriark. And before we get into all that exciting stuff, I think it's important to just share with our viewers and our listeners, from your perspective, what Matriark Foods is, so we can all get on the same page.
Yeah, of course.
Before we take a deep dive.
So Matriark is really an environmental impact food company. Overall, we upcycle farm surplus and fresh cut remnants into healthy products for food service, retail, and also emergency food. And the purpose of that really is to decrease the impact of wasted food on the environment, increase markets for farmers, and increase access for all people to healthy food.
Wow, there couldn't be a better reason to do this, right?
Or a more urgent reason.
More urgent reason. So, you're creating healthy food and you're impacting and doing positive things for the environment. So what inspired you to take that focus?
Yeah, so I'm a sort of serial entrepreneur, but not in the traditional way. This is actually my first business. But I've spent most of my career sort of starting up programs for different nonprofits, going from really zero to 100 staff, creating programs for the benefit of cities and young people. And my most recent position was as the executive director for a program called the Sylvia Center, which is still a lively program that teaches young people how to cook healthy food on a budget. And when I started, it really was very nascent. They were working with about 300 kids. And we built it along with funders and foundations and farmers and cooks and chefs and all kinds of people in the Hudson Valley into a healthy eating program for youth and families living in public housing in New York City. Which, if you don't know, or your viewers don't know, is technically the 10th largest city in the United States by number of people who live there, many of whom are food insecure or experiencing diet-related illnesses. And if you don't know how to cook and you're living on a budget, it's really hard to eat healthy food in a regular way. Simultaneously, there is a farm program in upstate New York in Columbia County, which is about a couple of hours north of New York City, where we had a learning garden. And we also collaborated with the school system in Columbia County with 6 districts to introduce a version of the program into those schools. So from about 8 years building that program, going from 300 students to cumulatively about 25,000 by the time I left, we were teaching multi-week classes and we were helping kids get produce into the classes from some of the farms that we were working with, including the farm where the program resided in Columbia County. And there was just so much need for healthier food and so much extra food. Even if you're an extremely efficient farmer, it is, nature likes to produce, and nature likes to produce in all kinds of formats. So small, large, a little hard, a little soft, there's no sort of everyday the same thing comes out of the ground. So there's always extra. And finding a place or a way to move that extra food was extremely difficult. The logistics around food transportation, especially produce, very complex. And if you're a small to mid-scale farmer, it's really hard to place that. It's really hard to find markets for that food, because you can take it to a farmer's market, or maybe you find a catering company that you can supply to, but there's just always extra. And so it just was insane that there was so much food going to waste. And while at the same time, we were working with teenagers who were just hungry for great quality food to cook into great things for their families. So saw an opportunity really to, create a business that had a dual and then triple bottom line, really, around environment, economics, and health.
Was your interest always in food and around access to better for you food?
No, I worked in the art world for about 25 years. I ran a publications department at the Museum of Modern Art. I was the deputy director for the Yale Art Gallery. Previous to all of that, I ran community mural programs in the South Bronx. But when I decided to leave the art world, I had a very short stint in politics. I was approached by the head of the legislature in the county where I used to live. She was looking for a speechwriter, and we'd met a couple of times, and she was sort of grooming me for politics, and I was like, not sure about that, but I'll come write some speeches for you. So I did, and she was fantastic. We had a great working relationship, but very quickly I was like, no, politics definitely not for me. But she sort of strung me along by giving me a very interesting project working with a group of farmers in the county who were trying to get a piece of legislation to be able to use county land to grow food for the community. And so I worked with that group of farmers, and eventually we got the legislation passed, and eventually founded something called the Rockland Farm Alliance, which is now quite a thriving group, and they have a community CSA program. And it just really plugged me into, the opportunity and also the plight. So that was really the beginning. And then I happened to meet the person who was building the Sylvia Center, the founder of the Sylvia Center, and we hit it off, and she asked me to come and help her build that program, and the rest is sort of history. But I will say, that even though I spent many, many years in the art world, working with artists, working in museums, that there's so many similar things between the art world and between and food. And one of those things is just the creativity. People and food, there is almost no comparable creative group than people with food and artists. There's just like incredibly energetic, always thinking of something new, always taking kind of what's around them and making something great out of it and sharing it with people. So,
I was just going to say that they also bring people together.
Yeah,
right?
they bring people together.
Together.
In creativity and with energy and community. And so, sometimes people are like, it seems so different being in the art world and being in food. And it's just like, there kind of couldn't be anything more similar from my perspective.
Well, I think that a lot of times when I think about food brings us together in terms of family. We commune over food. We bring our families, we eat dinner, we talk to our children, our parents, we do so much over food. It's creative. We get in the kitchen and we cook and we make recipes, and there's so much, as you're saying, creativity that comes with it, and also bonding, and that also happens over art. And so I think it fosters so much connection for people. And so I think that is a very big similarity for those two things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it can, it's, I think we always just have to make note that it is a privilege when it does do that.
Yes.
And I think that, certainly one of the drivers for me is to create greater access to that experience. If you're facing food insecurity, most likely you're not sitting around a table with your family.
No,
so there aren't ingredients. And so I think that's, and likewise with art, when I worked in the art world, much of my role was developing programs to create more inclusivity. And that was, that was a big driver. It's like, this is one of the greatest experiences in life, is to have, is to make something yourself, or to look at something and know how to enjoy it, or have the leisure to enjoy it. And with food, the same thing. Growing food is a necessity, but it's also a great pleasure, and being connected to nature in that way, and health. So it really comes out of, for all of us on our team, I think a strong drive to create greater access to those experiences.
Well, I think that's wonderful and amazing. And one of our driving forces is to provide a platform so people like yourself can amplify their story, but also provide information so people can make more informed choices, be more educated. Because, I originally built this because I was looking for the answers myself on how to do some of this, and I didn't have all the answers. And so I think that at every level, at every stage, we lack information on so many things, whether it's building a business like you're doing. You took your information and decided to become an entrepreneur. And I'd love to, how was that experience? You came from being an executive director, and you were inspired after, a variety of different experiences, and you had a vision and you wanted to build that. And you took a certain set of skills, and you wanted to be able to take that vision and then execute on it and really make a difference. So, I'd love to be able to give you an opportunity to share that, because we have so many people that would love to be able to do that.
You have to be a little bit crazy and a little naive. I think that's probably, those are two components. I'll never forget taking a group of students many, many years ago to visit a friend of mine at the Whitney Museum, and she was responsible for this incredible book program that they had, where they put together artists and poets to make an artist book, and they did one a year. And I remember one of the students asking a question like, how did you come up with this idea, and how did you make this work? And she's like, I knew nothing when I started. And thank God, because if I had known how hard it was, I never would have even, put my toe in the water. And I think there is some aspect of that, although, of course, one has a lot of skills, not like completely naive about it, but when you are starting something new, and that you haven't done before, you have a vision, you can see what the world looks like, and you want to make it look like that. And so then you just keep figuring out what you have to do. And obviously I'm an older entrepreneur. I'm not like in my early 20s. I didn't think of this idea right out of college. I have a ton of lived experience organizing things, raising money, finding the right people, knowing what I don't know, which is a huge thing, and then seeking out those people who do. And also, I've just had incredible, mentors and advisors along the way who really not only like encouraged me and have supported me, but also kind of pushed me into it. They're like, you've got to do this. You're the perfect person. It's a great combination. It's like social impact business. Now's the time. So it's been a really interesting, fascinating journey, I have to say, full of just amazing creative people, and a time when I think, if I were doing this 15 years ago, people weren't thinking about the need for food systems transformation as globally. There were certainly a lot of people thinking about it and working on it, and we build on the foundations of those people, but the zeitgeist around food systems transformation, the urgency of the climate crisis, I think it's just, and what happened during COVID around food loss and waste, in addition to enormous food insecurity, I think it's just galvanized people's awareness. Now, galvanizing awareness and galvanizing action are two different things. And so I think now, it's upon all of us in the upcycled food space, and the carbon neutral food space, and the environmental impact food space to really figure out how to galvanize the general public into participating more actively with us in creating this change.
So what's the plan? How do we do it?
Well, we started off really with a vision to transform procurement in food service. And I still think that was a good idea. We launched our first product in the fall of 2019, and we were invited into the Compass Group Stop Food Waste event at the Javits Center. And we, immediately got business from that event and distribution. And by the time we finished all the paperwork and onboarding, we sold our first pallet of product in the first week of March of 2020. And 1 week later, food service shut down globally. And we just like, whoa. I mean, we just were like, we're there. And then it's like, we're nowhere. So, we spent the next 2 years kind of just doing a lot of, like everyone, doing a lot of things to survive. But we had developed already very strong partnerships around mitigating wasted food, and also because the value proposition of our business is so much around access. We were able to partner with restaurant associates to do a smaller version of this food service concentrate that we sell, that they put into food boxes that they were doing for various frontline worker programs. Mm-hmm. We got a grant from ReFed to transform 500,000 pounds of vegetables that would otherwise have gone to waste because of canceled contracts. I mean, this was a proposal we made to them, and we got a grant for into a healthy stew for food banks. We partnered with Table to Table, the largest food bank provider in northern New Jersey. We were part of the Kroger Zero Waste, Zero Hunger program. We won the prize for that. So we just, which then gave us money to develop this product that we're coming out with this spring, which is a healthy meal in a shelf-stable carton for food banks and emergency food. And we also were able to, just collaborate with colleagues in the space, most of whom were at the time all in CPG. And everyone was like, you've got to release a retail product. Matriark is such a great name. You'll crush retail. And we were like, oh, retail, it's so expensive. It's so hard. It's so this, marketing dollars, et cetera. But we did last year kind of take that advice. And, we have an incredible supply chain of surplus tomatoes. And so we developed 3 SKUs of tomato sauces, and we're like, okay, we'll do a little launch in the Northeast.
I need to get it out here so I can try it. That's not fair.
See what it is, see how it does, and then see, maybe retail is a good idea. So we launched the product at Expo East in September, and in the first hour of the show, we got picked up by Whole Foods. So we were just like, oh, well, this is easy, kind of.
This is easy.
Anyway, it's not really easy, but we did kind of hit the ground running, and we just launched at One Wall Street, which is their new flagship store.
That's amazing. I mean, that's really, you make it sound really easy. So for the listeners,
I'm going to tell you why. In the easy part, it wasn't easy. I mean, none of it was easy, but it just, those things happened, I think, naturally, again, because it's like, it's a great product. The taste is phenomenal. And I feel like I can say that objectively, because every time we do a demo, people are still a little like, I don't know, cautious about Upcycled when they taste it, and everyone's like, this is amazing. This is the best pasta sauce I've ever had. But we launched, I guess it's just 2 or 3 weeks ago with Whole Foods, and now they're putting us in 55 stores in the Northeast.
You must be flying off the shelves.
Well, we'll see. That's what I want to talk about here. So we just are going to be in these next bunch of stores in the next couple of weeks. And I think now is really the test is getting off the shelf. I mean, it's one thing to get on the shelf, and that's very, typically very challenging, but getting off the shelf takes marketing, it takes communications, it takes people wanting to buy your product that may not have tasted it before. So, you're doing demos and all the standard things. But, you asked me at the beginning, what's on my mind the most? And it is really, what's the best way to engage people in the urgency of purchasing upcycled, climate-friendly food. And so we're doing some campaigns on Instagram. We just hired a great guy on fractional CMO. We're working with him. And then we have gotten a lot of fantastic press just naturally. So we're feeling pretty sanguine about it. And then, just looking for young people and boomers who care about the environment and are going to help us be ambassadors basically for the brand and for the future.
So question for you, with the Super Bowl coming up, it seems like a natural fit to
well,
make.
Yeah. You got a couple million for the midterm ad. They should definitely be.
I'm not even thinking that. I mean, that's huge. Okay. I like to think realistically, but I think you can get some influencer. I mean, and partner with them to do some nacho ads, collaborate with them, have them put up some recipes and put up some collaborative posts.
Well, I hope you've got some amazing influencers listening to your show, because if there's anyone out there who wants to work with us, we would be delighted.
Okay, and I'll get you a recipe, and then we'll collaborate, and we'll tag you, you tag us, and we'll do something. We'll find something. Well, I think we should do that, and then maybe we'll even do like a little post about it and ask, and you can do a post. And then we can all ask for people that want to maybe do your recipe, and you can choose the best one you like. Maybe they could submit to.
I'm from Buffalo, so I think a hot sauce made with our tomato sauce, with our arrabbiata for wings is a great way to go. So we'll have to get working on that.
I think that would be good. I'm in San Francisco, and maybe you do something with a San Francisco chef, because it is the 49ers. Or with Philadelphia, the Eagles, as they like to call themselves, right? With a Philadelphia chef. And
good idea.
And we're working to find a chef to give us some recipes that we can do. So maybe if we find one, I'll ask them if they can include it, and you can send over your tomato.
Sounds fantastic. We'll give free product to anyone who wants to develop a recipe for the Super Bowl. We actually did collaborate with a wonderful chef in the Bay Area. Her name is Preeti Mistry, and she had a fantastic restaurant called the Juhu Beach Club that closed, I want to say like at the beginning of COVID, but she made an incredible rasam for Italy out of one of our sauces that's actually on our Instagram page. But yeah, we've done some really interesting collaborations with chef, but that's a great idea for the Super Bowl for sure.
Okay, let's see if we can try to collaborate and make something happen.
Or maybe Hammond this year will, mix our sauce with mayonnaise, and that'll be their dip.
You could do that for July 4th, right? Do something like that for July 4th. That goes on like a salad or something. I don't know.
Yeah, good idea.
July 4th is kind of big. Yeah. Or one of those Labor Day things, or Memorial Day. I don't know, something like that. So anyway, now that we've collaborated to try to figure that one out. As my partner always likes to say, I like to fix lots of problems.
Yeah, good. Fixing is good and necessary.
I'm not saying this was a problem, but in any event. So I'm curious for our listeners and our viewers, I know you weren't an entrepreneur before you got here. You're an entrepreneur now. Is there anything you wish you had known when you gotten into this that you didn't know?
I think maybe I wish I had known that it's much harder to raise money as a woman than it is as a white dude. I don't know that I would have changed anything, but maybe it would have made me less frustrated. Although, we have raised money, so it hasn't been like a terrible struggle, but just in terms of amounts, I just found out about someone who just raised $6 million for a tea company, a canned tea company. I was just like, oh my God. you know.
Do you think that would have changed your, like, would you maybe have looked for a partner that was a man, or?
No, I would no, for sure not. But I might have, I'm not sure what I would have done differently, honestly. It's such an interesting question. I just think that I'm not sure I would have done anything differently, because I actually feel like the way we've built our company is so solid and so real and so based in the real. And our investors are literally all just incredible people who really believe in what we're doing and understand that it's a business. It's not a, it's not like a, nonprofit. It's not,
hobby.
that we believe that we do have to make money to make progress, but that, a 10x return in 3 years in any food system business is not realistic.
Right.
But I might have sought out like VC advisors who earlier on. I mean, we now have people in our network who are in that world. But maybe, I don't know. It's really, I have to say, I feel like we did everything in the right way for our business and for like who we are and what we stand for. Maybe it's that I wish there were more money out there for minority and women-owned businesses, because we outperformed by 63%. And if we all had more capital, we would be moving, 6 times as fast as we're already moving.
Right.
So I think it's more that I just wish there were more capital for minority and women-owned businesses. But even that has changed. I mean, since I launched this business in 2018, there are a lot of groups now that are supporting minority and women-owned businesses. And we are approached. I mean, I feel like every couple of weeks, someone reaches out to me, connected to someone else, interested in whether or not we're raising money, wanting to be supportive. And
are you raising money?
We are. Yeah, we're in a raise right now.
In a raise. And where are you in this raise? Is it a pre-seed or is it a seed? Or
no, it's a convertible bridge note before we do our Series A. We did a seed Series A last year. And this is just, really kind of getting us over the hump from the leftovers of COVID into the next level. Okay,
awesome. So what's new and what's next for you guys on the horizon in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, well, we're going to become a household brand. That's our next,
I love that.
our aspiration here. So we're working on some new products toward the end of this year. Always looking at our supply chain really to develop those products out of. And yeah, really sort of, I guess, just amplifying our retail presence now that we have this incredible momentum. And then, still trucking along with food service. And we've got some incredible partners in food service. We've been working with Restaurant Associates, Google, LinkedIn, the Good Eating Company, Vizient, which does a lot with hospitals. So we've got, kind of an incredible roster of partners and customers. And now that things are really, things are moving in food service, that's just getting bigger. And also because food service companies have made very big commitments to sustainability. So we just actually sent out our first sustainability impact report, first impact reports on how many pounds of vegetables each company.
Wow, I'd love to see that.
From landfill by purchasing our products. And how much water is saved and how much greenhouse gases. So yeah, we're really just building more on the strong foundation from the last couple of years. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're coming out in March with a product that's specifically for food banks and emergency food. And that's a healthy vegetable stew made from New York State vegetables. So it will also be eligible for Nourish New York. And that's really designed. We had in-kind support from Danone Communities to develop that. And then the Kroger Zero Waste, Zero Hunger Foundation gave us financial support to develop that program. And the idea there is, not only to provide, a healthy, better for you product for people experiencing food insecurity, but also, again, to it's climate neutral certified, and that we hope will be really a line of products eventually that food banks and emergency food providers can purchase, and that not only will it provide something healthier and better for the environment, by its nature, what it is, but also, I'm sure, as you know, a lot of food for food banks is stuff that's gone to the grocery store, come off the grocery store shelf, been back in the warehouse, then sent out again. And so it's many times has traveled, at least twice or 3 times what our product would have traveled. And so to reduce the travel impact of a lot of donated food is another reason that we've developed that program. So we're very excited about that, and looking for partners too, philanthropic partners who want to purchase and donate to food banks, business partners who want to carry the product. And so, yeah, so that's a big one. In addition, obviously, to the retail launch we just
You have done so much in so little time. It's amazing the outcomes you've had. So we are going to continue to watch what you're doing, and it is just exciting, and I can't wait to see how things progress. And when I'm in New York, beginning of March for a bar mitzvah, I'm going to go into Whole Foods and check out your product.
Great, definitely.
With it while I'm there, but I will check it out, and we'll continue this conversation, because I do hope that maybe we can find a collaboration for the Super Bowl. I'm really motivated for that.
Oh yeah, that sounds amazing.
And in the meantime, hopefully we can collaborate on other things, because I have some ideas percolating in my brain already. So keep us posted on how things progress, and the impact you're having on the planet with all these upcycling products you're making, because I'd love to just hear how that goes. And I'm sure the numbers are going to be staggering and more than I could ever imagine. So thanks again for joining me here on Essential Ingredients.
Thank you so much. Wonderful interview.
To learn more about these episodes and access show notes, go to nextgenpurpose.com and choose podcast. If you like this episode, head to Apple Podcasts or your favorite platform to subscribe and leave us a review. Visit the Next Gen Purpose YouTube channel to subscribe to our EI videocast and give this episode a like while you're there. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Next Gen Purpose, and connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Justine_Reichman. Thanks for joining us.